not every song requires that slide. So
Correct.
yeah. And also,
No,
you
so like, oh, sorry to interrupt, but like because I'll forget. Like you said about this glides, no? So and about multiple takes. So what happens is I record, and then again while listening to the song, I'll be like, okay, can you go there? Just mute that slide. So I edit a lot. I also sit and edit a lot. So because sometimes I feel like, oh, that glide is not required.
hmm,
Okay. So like you said, correct. It's too much of anything, or
correct,
sometimes
correct,
it'll sound too cliche also.
correct.
So
Exactly. Like that's the right word. Bass, slap, and that slide is the two cliches that.
that's because you have so many samples, right? So
Correct.
you just put like a VST also. You got a
Yeah,
sample, so
correct. A lot of samples are correct. And also, you mentioning Santosh Narayan's sense of the sonic sense. I can relate very well because if you, for example, it's you might play a song very well, okay, but in the end, it is what how it comes out in the mix. So I think the way him, Anirudh, and a lot of guys, even guys like Iman, the way they bring out bass in the mix is amazing, and especially your bass lines in Santosh Narayan's songs are very very punchy. Like that's gonna be one of the questions later on. How do
okay.
you get that solid punchy tone, and it's like trademark Navin Kumar's uh, punch that we get, and that is what is if you listen to your 90s, a bit off topic, but if you listen to 90s Bollywood songs and all, you can't hear the bass at all. Whereas at the same time here down in South, like Ilaiyaraaja sir and Rahman were doing magic with bass here. So yeah, so I think it in the end, even though there were amazing bass players in Bollywood here, but unless the music composer or the sound engineer
Can come out.
don't do the
Correct.
work, it won't come out. So yeah, so a shout out to guys like Santosh Narayan.
Definitely.
So one thing is, so session is one part of your music career. The other half is touring. So I have personally always wondered, guys like you who keep touring, don't you guys get tired? Or because I'll tell you, like we guys, when we normally go for a normal tour, okay, say we plan for a northeast tour. After second, third day, after sightseeing itself, we feel so tired, or at times we catch probably a flu or something like that. So how do you stay in shape? How do you stay always ready to go on stage?
Yeah, I think like I said, we love what we do. So also we we started liking this. I mean, I think it's important you start liking the lifestyle that because end of the day, for example, in my case personally, why am I in India? Because I was born brought up in Abu Dhabi, UAE, and I could have chosen elsewhere, also been back there or another place. But why did I come to India? Because just for the sake of music.
Mhm.
It's just because there's no film music there, and in terms of music, no, there's a lot of money, there's a lot of other things you can do and all that. But then when it comes to music entertainment, it's either the West, like the US over there, or in India. So I am primarily why I'm in India. It took me a long time, by the way, to get used to the Indian uh, lifestyle,
Hmm.
no? Because in Abu Dhabi, Dubai, it's very different. It's all
Okay.
exotic cars, and
Hmm.
it's so clean, and it's so different. But
Yeah.
here it's very different.
Hmm.
So getting used to this place itself took me a very very long time, but a lot of years actually. But then what keeps me going always is, and now if somebody would ask me, I kept waiting for any chance to go back,
Hmm.
to UAE or in any way possible.
Hmm.
And I got so many offers for teaching and stuff and all that, and then some radio stations, FM stations, all this. But then now, if you ask me, I would never leave India and
Okay.
go anywhere else. And
That's a good
what is the
choice.
reason? Okay. And what is the reason? The only reason is music. That's the only reason.
Nice.
Like, I mean, if when you say I love Indian food, yes, I get this Indian food back there also. In fact, we keep joking. We say in Dubai you get better Indian food than here, no?
Yeah.
So yes,
Correct.
so and so music is the only reason I'm here. So like that, when you go anywhere, one very important thing is I do very short tours. So my tour is to the point.
Okay.
Like if it's one gig, I never go for a week. If it's going to be one gig in another country, I would be there for 3 days at the most.
Okay.
So that would be one day I go there, and I go there in the morning, and then it'll I go to the hotel, check in, and go straight for sound check
Oh, okay.
or stage rehearsal. Right?
Hmm.
Go check into the hotel, have my breakfast, and then leave for sound check, or I sleep in the flight and all that.
Hmm.
Come straight, maybe just check in and go for the sound check, rehearsal, stage rehearsal, whatever. Do the whole day. The next day probably would be the show,
Okay.
or maybe one more dress rehearsal they have, or the main, or
Hmm.
on the venue, right?
Hmm.
Maybe
Correct.
in the venue.
Hmm.
So do that the whole day. That'll be the second day. The
Hmm.
third day would be the gig, the main show. So you do the show. That night flight I take, which was the first flight right after the gig.
Hmm.
So if the gig gets over at 10 p.m., if there is a flight at 1 a.m., I would catch that.
Okay.
If I can make it to the airport
Hmm.
in, so depending on that, whichever is the next earliest flight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. So I never stay more than that. So, actually, I never get time to even go sightsee,
Got it.
because moment you land, you go for your, a rehearsal or sound check, whatever.
Hmm.
Then you're so tired, you come there. Next day, maybe somewhere in the morning or in the evening after the
Hmm.
whole rehearsal, maybe just go somewhere, see something. Next day is the gig. We finish and then I leave to the airport. So that's how it is. Maybe if I've got 2 gigs, I might stay for another couple of days extra. But so it's
Hmm.
very, very focused.
Got it.
I would. That's how I talk to the music directors also. When
Okay.
anybody calls me the artist, I would ask them to book my flight in such a way.
Nice.
So I think that way, I don't get the thing. And also, I am a foodie. I like most musicians
Hmm.
love eating,
Hmm.
so I love eating food different places. Like
Hmm.
you're in Sri Lanka, I love that Sri Lankan food. I love to taste that. You're in Italy, I love Italian food. Wherever you're in. So when I'm in the US, I only eat burgers and like just
Okay.
trip on that. And so like that, which place you're in, if I'm in the Gulf, it's just shawarmas and
Hmm.
all that. So like that. So because we love the food, there's no problem in terms of food. I know a lot of musicians I travel with, they miss Indian food. No,
Hmm.
they keep saying, "Arey yaar, I'm missing that."
Hmm.
It's not like that for me, at least. So when I had gone to Russia for
Hmm.
an important concert,
Hmm.
it was representing the country. So again there, I was like, I went and asked, "What's the Russian national food?" And then like I was just
Okay.
enjoying the Russian food.
Nice.
So that way, food is not a problem,
Hmm.
and yeah.
Yeah. So
So it's
basically,
not gonna.
staying in
And,
shape is so
sorry.
like practically. I mean, so music is what helps you stay in shape and everything. Like.
Correct. And the other question you asked also, there have been sometimes when you are sick and you
Yeah.
still have to perform
Has
on
it ever
stage.
happened?
Yes. Once in India it's happened. I was traveling in a bus
Okay.
from Andhra or somewhere. I had to go
Hmm.
for a show.
Hmm.
It was almost like 6 hours, 7 hours drive, and my temperature was more than 102,
Oh.
3. It was very high, very high. But I had to travel. I had to go. I had to perform. So
Mhm.
those instances are there.
Okay.
But then another recent incident that happened last year in Singapore, I
Mhm.
think 2019 or 20, yeah, not sure, but yeah, a couple of years back in Singapore, we played at the Esplanade,
Mhm.
the huge concert hall, and right before the gig, right after the sound check, I was walking and I slipped and fell.
Oh.
Uh, I had a very bad fall from the stage.
Hmm.
So I fell down. Was a huge fall. So after that, I couldn't get up, and a lot of people, everyone rushed in. This,
Hmm.
the nurses and all came, doctors, and did the first aid thing, safety thing, and all that. Then they took me, and then my leg was slightly swollen, and then they gave me treatment and all that. And the show was like starting in another
Okay.
uh, half an hour, you
Hmm.
know, and everything. And then for that show, I sat and played. I couldn't stand and play, so I sat and played the entire show for 3 hours.
Okay.
After the show got over, again the same thing. Like I told you, my flight is the next day, early morning flight. There's
Okay.
no night flight. And after the show, they said my leg was still paining. So they said, okay. I said, I don't think I can walk. Somebody has to help me to go to the, I mean, to get to the car. They said,
Hmm.
okay, let's take you to the nearest hospital. Let's
Hmm.
just take you to a doctor. We'll check what it is.
Hmm.
Maybe a sprain or something. So they took me to the hospital, and then they did their checkup, and I had a fracture.
Oh,
So
so you have been playing with a fracture on stage.
I played an entire concert with a fracture. 3 hours gig. It was a very long gig, so 3.5 hours almost. So, um, yeah. So my friends still joke. They're like, "Are you like insane? Like you forget yourself, man, when you play music. How can you sit for 3.5 hours with a fracture and play?"
Like, that's crazy. Also has
So
something uh, crazier in terms of something like, you're about to go to the stage, one of your strings snaps, you don't have extra strings, or your active base battery just runs out, you don't have an extra battery, something like that happened ever?
very rarely, because we are very careful. Because I make sure I carry batteries. So that is really, and strings as well. We have strings, but the string is a big pain. Battery is easy. You can just quickly change
Right.
the battery. But then if a string pops, it's not that easy to,
Right.
you know,
Base restringing is much more
yeah,
tedious.
very hard, very hard. But then, I mean, in instance, what happens when in between the song, something like that, it happens, or you somehow didn't carry an extra battery, then you
Hmm.
just switch to the passive, from active.
Right.
The
Okay.
active doesn't work, so you switch to passive. So the tone setting is a very important thing. The tone, like you asked me about my tones, I concentrate a lot. I take a lot of time setting the tone for the recording.
Hmm.
Only once we are okay, the engineer is okay, I am okay personally. We are like, okay, I think this tone works. Only then we start recording. So that takes its own time. Tone setting is very very important because that sound that
Okay.
and every song requires a slightly different variation, but your signature tone shouldn't change. That's also
Right.
there.
Correct. Correct.
But then, yeah, that little bit of shelving, of
Hmm.
cutting, a little bit, adding a little more highs in
Right.
this song, cutting a little lows in the song, adding a little mids, for this song. So depending on that, all that is very important. So what happens is also where you play, your pickups play a huge part. Also where you uh, hit, not fret, but hit the note with your right hand.
Correct.
So, and how you hit it? Like, do you use the thumb? Do you use your fingers?
Hmm.
So suppose you play an active bass, and suddenly something like this happens, the battery pops out, and battery dies. You can't play active anymore, you switch to passive, the tone completely changes.
Correct.
So what happens immediately, instead of playing with the finger, you shift to the thumb. You go more closer to the neck and you play,
Hmm.
because then you still get a little bit of the round thick sound, which
Correct.
you get only with an octave pickup.
Correct.
So
Correct.
those kinds of adjustments, yeah, troubleshooting rather,
Got it.
you know
Yeah.
those kind of
Nice.
things. Yeah.
Awesome. So who are your contemporary influences? Like, especially anyone from Indian scene. Need not be bassist, like any contemporary musicians that who really inspires you.
Again, lots of them.
Okay.
I think, yeah, a lot. And
It's
also
a bit difficult question actually. I think
very difficult,
to,
yeah,
to name a
because
few.
like I said, I don't listen to one particular style of music, so I don't have like this favorite band or favorite thing. But then, you know, one more thing is I don't listen only to bass players. I listen to a lot of guitarists, a lot of
Hmm.
drummers, a lot of pianists. I
Hmm.
listen to saxophone players. I listen to a lot of musicians in
Correct.
general.
Hmm.
So anybody who plays well, no, is very inspiring to me.
Got
I
it.
also think that's also very important because it keeps pushing your boundaries. Because if I really like something, like recently, I've been like going crazy listening to JD Beck, on the drums.
Okay.
This young guy,
Hmm.
JD Beck with Domi.
Hmm.
So I saw the Zildjian day, the Zildjian
Hmm.
concert, and what he's doing. I mean, the techniques just
Hmm.
crazy madness.
Hmm.
And I've been so much recently after a very long time, because you know uh, because of all the situation, after a very long time, there's this inner spark within me again. Like, I need to practice, man. I need to practice. I really need to practice. Find time to practice. How do I make some time to practice? Take the instrument and practice. And I've been carrying the bass with me, uh, alone, um, and just carrying the bass with me in the car, even
Hmm.
when I'm going for other works,
Got it.
even for something else. But I'm
Hmm.
carrying the bass with me because I'm seeing if I find some place, some time, if I can still practice. Because that I'm being inspired by a drummer. The way he's playing, his
Hmm.
techniques is so much at a mastery level that it's so inspiring. Like, whoa, how can somebody do that? And how can I be inspired by that and do what I can on the bass? So it's
That's
not just
amazing.
bass who influence you. Yeah.
So what's your interestingly enough, what's your practice routine? Like, do you get time to practice per se? Like by practice, I literally mean, you know, probably practicing your modes or fundamentals, or trying to your basic improving your chops. Those kind of typical practice do you do?
Uh, I think I mean, my practice happens in every session, I guess.
Okay.
Like, I've been missing the whole gigging, no,
Hmm.
because of this lockdown.
Hmm.
Because to be very honest, my entire practice, my serious practice happens during rehearsals.
Okay.
Because see, when they book me for rehearsal, it's almost 10 hours to 12 hours, no,
Hmm.
of the day. It's morning 10 to evening
Hmm.
10, or whatever, or 10 to 8. It's
Hmm.
10 to 12 hours slot.
Correct.
But then we are not practicing the whole 10 hours. You know that.
Correct.
There is lunch break in between.
Hmm.
There is. So what I do is I usually go finish off. If there's a 1 hour lunch break,
Hmm.
maybe half an hour
Hmm.
or 20 minutes, finish off. And then I'll come back alone, sit to the bass, and keep
Got it.
working on stuff, practicing.
Hmm.
Tea breaks. Every time you have a tea break, for me it just takes like I'll just finish it in like 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes, and then sit and keep working. Even when every time people are talking, when
Hmm.
people are discussing, okay, what do we do? How do we set this set list? What song should come first? Whatever. Every time I am not involved, they don't need me
Hmm.
in the scene. I am just muted and practicing.
Right.
I love practicing muted on the electric bass
Right. Right.
because Billy Sheehan,
Delicious. I
he
was
also
about to tell you, like he talks about sitting on the
exactly
couch and uh, keep
exactly.
fiddling with your fingers while watching TV.
I'm a huge fan of Billy Sheehan,
Right.
huge admirer, and so you know exactly like he says, just pound on it,
Correct.
and I mean that's enough. What you hear from it, try to make yourself be heard with
Correct.
that, not being connected. So every time I'm muted, so basically my bass is on for 10 hours
Hmm.
in a day or 12 hours in a day. And you know that 12 hours we are not playing, right?
Hmm.
Because the practice would be for 8 hours maybe,
Hmm.
or 9 hours. And then you have the lunch break, you have different breaks. And anytime, like I said, anytime people are talking, I'd be muted. And even when people are talking to me, I'm just like, yes, some casual talk. But I'm all the time practicing. Yeah, oh yeah, we're just talking. But then, continuously your finger is moving. All
I
these
think
I really,
bass
really
is one of the
miss.
best instrument to do that kind of silent practice, because you think about it, guitars, if you do that, there's gonna be tongue to, even if it's an electric guitar, right? If it's a
Yeah,
drum, your stick will make sound. But bass is one thing, you just keep doing this, there's not gonna be much of sound, especially on the lower strings. You keep doing it and you're good to go. Like, it's a good
Felician
thing.
says that, no, when he goes to the dentist also, he's all the time practicing his three
Right.
finger technique, no? He's all the
Correct.
time doing this. And when he's driving the car,
On
he's
the
doing this
dashboard, he
on
talks
the
about.
dashboard. He's doing this. So exactly,
He
that's
also
so true.
plays with 4 fingers, right? Like, there's also a
Uh,
technique where he uses the pinky also. So that's
okay,
crazy.
okay. So
think. Yeah.
I think John Myung is so good at that, the four finger technique, not Dream
Correct.
Theater. So John Myung is super in that. But this guy does like magic with three fingers.
Correct.
Billy Shen, of course, it's unique.
Right. Like Billy Sheehan is someone whose tone is very, very, very unique. Like there's no
True.
one like him. Very unique tone.
Tone, playing, everything. Like
Correct.
nobody as daring as him.
Right. His energy,
He's
especially like even in this age, if you look at his recent interviews, like it doesn't feel that like that guy is old. Like he's like pumping with energy. Very
not
nice.
at all. I mean, yeah, exactly. Even I feel like watching 2020 or something, his interview even now, what energy that man has. Even when he talks and the passion when he talks,
Right.
it's very evident, no?
Correct.
Very
Exactly.
evident.
And whenever and especially talking about the gears, his like he becomes so into explaining all the experimentation, the kind of pickups, how he has changed and all those things. He's very passionate about.
Crazy, crazy. So some of my influences you had asked, no, in when it comes to bass players in
Bass, yeah, yeah.
particular, has been like one of my first influences was Flea, Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Okay, okay. I
So
think, in fact, your the way you slap, it's kind of like flea slap. It's not like your. It's definitely not the Marcus Miller,
not at all.
where it's parallel, right? Yours is more of
Exactly.
a flea thing, where it's like a claw slap. I've seen that.
Exactly, exactly. Oh, you noticed a lot. That's great. I think you're one of the few people who said. So it makes a big difference. Of course, the approach is not right because even Flea says you get pain on your shoulders,
Correct.
so you can't do it for a long time. It's very
It's not
difficult because you.
ergonomically. Right.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, it puts its pressure on your shoulders and stuff, but and the tone is very different. You get a lot of a crisp
That
attack,
attack aggression you'll only get with that kind of thing, like that
very aggressive.
that especially the pop, it's like even
Pop is
without
mad.
it plugging you'll get that attack.
Exactly, exactly. The other approach, of course, for a much longer thing, and the standard approach is more of the Wooten, Marcus Miller
Wooten.
kind of thing.
Correct.
Straight. I don't know. You just go this way, and that is fine. But then for me, that tone is very different. You get a lot of lows in that.
Correct.
But then this other thing is like it bounces. You bounce
Correct.
off the string,
Right.
and yeah.
And
So
because
so
especially flea, talking about flea stone, I used to think that way back I used to think the majority of his tone, like RHCP tone, is due to the modulus bass that he's using. Then later on I
okay.
came to know that modulus is just it's just for his live shows. So he has used something like Music Man. So now he's using the Fender Jazz basses. So irrespective of the kind of bass he's using, the tone stays as flea tone. Like jazz bass, modulus, and Music Man. Three different pickups, completely different tones if anyone else plays. But when that guy plays, the tone is flea tone. So I think
It's
because
crazy.
of that kind of slap that you're talking about.
Yeah. So Flea was a huge influence, and uh, I mean, like, again, Flea was one guy. When I heard the song RHCP, I was like, "Whoa! I mean, who's this guy? I mean, how is he playing? How is he getting this kind of like such an aggressive tone and bass is like cutting through, and so Flea, and then of course Victor Wooten, and then Abe Laboriel was a huge influence, and then of course Marcus Miller, and then Billy Sheehan
Hmm.
was a huge influence. And I mean, I can never play anything like him, in the sense I've never even attempted to because it's too advanced, but I was a huge fan. Used to always watch and learn from his approach, like the daringness, right? Like you can
Right.
just push the boundaries, like go beyond. And yeah, and then of course John Patitucci is a huge
John Patterson.
influence
Right.
for me. Okay, like I mean, when it comes to the Chick Corea Electric Band or whatever,
Correct. Correct.
like his I mean his fluency, his the way, I mean, he can just play anything correctly. I don't know how, but yeah.
Right. Right.
So John Patitucci, and so yeah, so quite a few of these people.
Do you
So
listen to
almost
metal? Do you listen to metal?
Not too much. Not too much. Yeah. Yeah. That's one genre I've not gone too much into. Yeah,
Okay.
unfortunately. But then again, Paul McCartney, the pick playing, no, he plays a
Right.
lot
Right.
using the pick, so
Right.
that pick sound,
Mm.
yeah, and of course, Jacko definitely for the whole,
Mm.
approach, and yeah, not much. I haven't heard much metal bass players. Yeah.
Uh, okay. Speaking about Jacko, another thing. So, do you play fretless? Have you played any fretless lines in any of the songs?
Not much. No, not really. I do have a fretless, but then I think I'll leave it to Mr. Keith Peters. Like,
Okay.
he's a very, very good fretless bass player. So
Right.
I think I'll just leave it to him. So I've never really attempted much. A lot of people have asked me, but then I don't think I'm good at fretless. So I just
It's
I
it's a
wouldn't.
different world altogether, right? Like,
It's
that's
a
like
totally
starting
different
over
world.
again.
Yeah, it's totally different world altogether.